Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Mario and I hope all of you are doing well. So yeah, today we're going to start with a brand new series which is going to kind of like wrap a couple of topics into one. So what I prepare here is going to be sort of like Mortal Kombat inspired theme. We're going to talk a couple of masks here, a couple of variations. We're going to talk about kind of like organic modeling, what we can do right here on the side. This is also going to be kind of like a small introduction into ZBrush as well, because I just want to have some kind of like point of reference once we start to talk about ZBrush and let's say hard surface workflow in ZBrush, that we can always compare to how something would look in sub-D. So we're going to kind of like use strength from the both sub-D and ZBrush to sort of like combine them together. But like I mentioned, I would just like to have kind of like point of reference in this project for multiple things, multiple topics that we can always come back to and sort of like compare all the workflows. So this is going to be the beginning. So even though that this video is going to be sort of like time lapse, we are going to come back and talk about all the things that are happening in the videos. So starting from the next time, we're also going to talk about the importance of the blockout, the edge flow, structural and support edges, and so on. So it's going to be a lot of different things to talk about. So just before I let the footage roll, I want to cover a couple of things what you're going to see in the video itself. So we're going to have here a couple of mask variants. So first one is going to be this one right here. Then we're going to continue to the top. And after that, we're going to do sort of like from one established sort of like a base, which that base we're going to use as a backup, and then from that backup we're going to do a couple of variations finally to this one. And something that I didn't really record is this one right here, which is just a kind of like wanted to refine this version and maybe a little bit better. And basically that is all. So ZBrush part, so the head bus, it's just again decimated mesh from ZBrush. So again, the reference was again Mortal Kombat. I just want to come close to kind of like the Gyros kind of like feel, nothing really special. And as for the rest of the masks, I'm going to share actually the references here on the screen so you can see actually where I took kind of like the majority of direction inspiration, so to say, as per reference. So just the one thing maybe important to mention about the workflow itself and what it's going to be really important, because you're going to see happening that quite a lot, and that is that when creating any kind of forms, usually I like to start with the lowest poly possible. So that means that only once we kind of like exhaust the possibility for the form, only then we're going to start introducing brand new edges. So for example, we're going to here establish the beginning and the end. So this is going to be, let's say, starting point and the end point where we want to have, let's say, our forms established. And once kind of like that area is depleted, or the possibilities with that forms are now becoming limited, only then we're introducing brand new edges to push that form even further and establish, let's say, a proper language here. So also one thing you're going to notice is that a lot of the workflow is going to be based on presenting the subdivided mesh. So that means this one. So let's actually add a little bit more. So adding here one more kind of like loop, and let's say pushing it here. So now you also notice what I'm doing is that we are working in subdivided preview mode. And the reason for that is this is going to be actually the mesh that we're going to be using. So later down the line, I do have a video where we're going to talk about this as a specific dedicated topic. Should you model kind of like in subdivision preview or not? In this case now for us, in some situations, I'm going to model like that simply because once we smooth it out or subdivide it, this is going to become actually our mesh. So for that reason, I'm going to use that subdivided workflow. Another thing maybe that it's going to be worth mentioning is these parts right here. So you're going to notice that we're going to still start with kind of like some basic things. And also here on the shoulder pads. So sometimes it's going to be just enough, even for the very beginning, very start, that you have some kind of like a placeholder. It doesn't have to be anything complex. You're going to see also that I'm going to just use a single plane and kind of like stretch that plane around just so that we have a placeholder, that we have, let's say, a reminder that this is something that we still need to work on, we still need to do. But let's say for the current stage where we at, it's going to be just enough. In terms of what exactly are we going to model, we are going to establish with, let's say, a specific shot. So let's say that we have a shot like this, and then whatever it's contained within that shot, whatever it's visible, that is going to be kind of like important to model. Everything that it's outside of that shot, so whatever it's on the back, whatever it's not visible. So even though, for example, here on the mask comes kind of like small straps around the head, you can also notice that on some parts, for example, I have intersecting mesh right here. But again, if it's kind of like hidden in the shadow or not really visible in the render, then it really doesn't matter, because right now we're just kind of focusing on minimizing the time, creating something really, really quick, exploring different variations, different kind of like design ideas, what we can get out of kind of like the simple blockout that we start with. And then based on that, we just explore the other options. And then later, finally, of course, if that would be like, say, full production model or production pipeline, then of course you would put a little bit more effort into all of that. But like I mentioned, this is again just something as a point of reference that we can come back to, and I didn't want to have kind of like overly complicated videos that last so long, so each of these masks were relatively kind of quickly done. Another thing also what maybe might be a little bit confusing later down the line is how we are creating curves, and that is going to be by selecting, let's say, the edge, and then we're going to have here under modify, convert, and then polygon edges to curvature, actually to curve, and then we're simply going to kind of like increase that curve, and then we're going to have a specific pattern that we're going to wrap around that curve, which is actually this pattern right here. The design, then I can always just kind of like detach it like this, and then see how everything is working, and if it's working the way that I like it, then we can always come back and then do kind of like a proper panel break like I did here. So let me just quickly again assign here material. So this is kind of like a panel break now between two materials. So yeah, as for these parts like right here, so how this is done now, this I haven't shown. This is just a simple retopology of the base. So just retopologized the base here. And I'm not sure what else. Yeah, so for the hood, you're going to see it's going to be similar workflow where we're going to just stretch one plane while in subdivided preview mode and create these forms. Now again, you're going to have probably a question why kind of like do it all here, why not just do it in ZBrush? We're going to cover that too, but just again for kind of like a quick explanation is that in ZBrush, yeah, you may start with, I don't know, depending on your workflow, you may start either with sphere, you may start just with a cube, you may start low poly, high poly, regardless. Sometimes, at least for me, it's much easier to manipulate geometry when there is a kind of like that low poly factor, same thing that I showed kind of here with that beginning mask. It's just easier to manipulate and then put everything to form. And then later, of course, everything that we do here can be easily translated to ZBrush and then build masks on top. We can do various alphas. We can even use that base mask that we use. Even that we can just transfer into ZBrush and start working there. But like I mentioned, there's a video coming about that too. So we'll cover kind of like the whole point of it all. But I think that before moving that far, it's going to be very important to cover all of these kind of like basics, why the blockout is important, why structural edges are important, why the different edge directions will also kind of like be of great importance as well. So yeah, no worries, we're gonna cover it all. So I don't want to take that much of your time anymore, so let's just let the footage roll. And in case you have any questions, like always, just feel free to ask anything in the comment section down below, and I'll be happy to answer if I can, and even I can make a follow-up video if necessary. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'm gonna see you next time.